What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a topic that you guys have been asking about for a couple of months now since we announced that we were having a little baby girl, and that is baby girl names that we like but won't be using. To be honest, I've had a running list of baby names for years now, specifically baby girl names. I find that they're so much easier than baby boy names for whatever reason. There's just like a few baby boy names, especially because I really love the classic ones that I feel like everybody knows, everybody uses, whereas with baby girl names, there's a little bit more room, I think, to play around while still having a name that does sound classic, especially with nicknames and things like that. So I do have a few on my list that I'm gonna go through today that I'm pretty sure we won't be using. So that's the other thing, is Jared and I would say, are like 95% sure on baby girl's name right now. We know what the middle name is going to be, we're pretty sure on that, but for her actual name, we've gone back and forth. I have been like very sure of it, but Jared has not been as sure because he's of the mind of like, I want to see her when she's born to know like what she looks like and all that, whereas I'm of the mind of like, babies just look like babies. Like I don't know if they really look like a name until they're older, and then they kind of just become the name that you give to them. So I don't know, that's where I'm at with it right now, but we're pretty sure that we have one, and just in case we don't actually have one and we decide to change it on the spot for whatever reason, I have a few backups that we've talked about in here that I will not be sharing today, just in case that happens. But I will share the ones that we're pretty sure we won't be using for this baby girl or future children, because I either changed my mind about them as soon as I found out that I was pregnant, or Jared is not on board at all. So those are the ones that I'm going to share today. Before you guys leave today, I would love for you to like this video and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. But also let me know in the comments which one of these baby girl names is your favorite. And I would also love for you guys to guess at what you think baby girl's name is going to be coming out of this, because I feel like this kind of gives you guys a vibe of the type of names that I like for baby girl. So who knows, maybe one of you guys will get it right. And if I have told you her name, do not comment, don't give it away. We won't be sharing it until she's born, so that's just the disclaimer, but let's get started. So the first one that I have written down on my list, and I think I added this one like 3 or 4 years ago, is Lennon. I think Lennon is such a cute name for a baby girl. It's gotten so much more popular in past years, I think, especially because of Lennon Stella coming out and being this artist that is beautiful and everybody loves. So I found that people started to really use this name, and then I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to have a name that's so popular and feels trendy, because it is one of the ones that is picked up in more recent years, but I also don't want it to have so many different associations in pop culture, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it's harder if there is a celebrity that's really popular right now that has a name, and then whatever they do, for example, like then gets tied to that name, if that makes sense. Like the same kind of thing happened with Addison when I had that on my list back in the day, and I, like, as soon as Addison Rae like blew up, I took it off the list because I was like, there's too many sketchy associations with this now, so I'm just gonna take it off of the list. But I did take Lennon off of the list, and I am okay with that. I still think it's a super cute name, but that's the first one that we took off the list when we found out that we were having a baby girl. The second name that I have on my list is Evelyn. So originally I thought that I would like Everly better, but then as Jared and I were talking about this one a couple years ago, we like kind of drifted more towards Evelyn because we thought it was really classy and cute. I also love that with Evelyn there are so many adorable nicknames that you can put with it. So you can call her Eve, you can call her Evie, you can call her Ev, and all Lynn, and all of those variations are super cute names. So I honestly do love that one. But I think like the reason that I took it off of the list, Jared didn't even, he was like, I still like this one, this is a contender. But I feel like I took it off the list because when I thought about actually naming her that, it just didn't really fit with a little girl, even though I know like you can call her all of those different nicknames and things when she's growing up. So I don't know, this could be one that we revisit in the future, but for now we know that we are not going to be using Evelyn for this girl. The next name that I have on my list is Charlotte. I think Charlotte is such a cute name. It is one of those ones that is just so classic. I mean, obviously it's now in the royal family as well, which means that it has picked up quite a bit in recent years in terms of people using that name. However, we do have a nephew that my sister has had in recent years that we absolutely love, and his name is Charlie, and it is pretty close to Charlotte because I feel like the nickname that you use for Charlotte oftentimes is Charlie. I know that you can still call them like Char or Lottie or whatever, but I don't know if I would want to have two Chars in the family. It's a little bit too close together because my sister and I are pretty close, so I figured that we would steer clear from Charlotte for the time being. Maybe in the future a middle name or something like that. And honestly, it depends on how many girls we have too, right? Because we could, like, I don't know, who knows how many baby girls we'll have in our lifetime, so we may need to come back to some of these, but Charlotte for now is one that we have crossed off of the list as well. So the next one that I have on the list is a variation of Addison, at least in my mind, and it's actually Addington. And I think like the ington on the ends of names that is coming up in more recent years is actually really cute. It gives it more of like that old English kind of style or British kind of style, and I just think it sounds really classic, even though it's like a modern take on some of these names. And I have always really liked anything that had like the A-D-D in it because I love Addie. I think it's just such a cute name for a girl and like such a fun nickname, and I'm really big on nicknames. That is one hint that I'll give you guys for baby girl's actual name, is that it is a name that there are a variety of nicknames that you can use for it, because I just think it's so cute to have the option of multiple nicknames. And so Addington is one that I had on the list, but we do have a couple of close friends that just named their kids something that has an ington on the end, and so because of that I figured like maybe wait until later in life where there is like a little bit more of an age gap or something like that between those kids. So we did take Addington off of the list for now. This next one is one that I honestly love so much, and I wish that Jared liked this name. The only reason that this is off of the list is because Jared is not a fan of this name. I think it's so pretty, and I honestly probably would put it like in my top 3 for baby girl if we could use it, but it is the name Elodie, and I would spell it like E-L-L-O-D-I-E. So the nickname for that would kind of be like Elle or Ellie or something of that variation, and I just think it is so pretty. I know that it's really close to Melody, and that's like the big reason why Jared doesn't want to use it, but I also feel like there's so many names that are close to each other in terms of like how you could say it, so I don't know, like I don't think that's a huge deal. So if anyone else wants to name their daughter Elodie, I think it's so cute. Do it. You have my blessing. I will live vicariously through you on that one, because I do not think that this name is going to be in the future for my children, but I love this name so much. It is definitely one that I have always really liked, but unfortunately will not be using for any of my children, at least in the near future. The next name that I really like is one that is also very classic, and that is Genevieve. I knew a few Genevieves growing up, and I, for whatever reason, was just like enthralled by that name. I thought it was so pretty. I really like that it has like so many E's and I's and the V's in there. I just think like it sounds so pretty. And I also like that there are a lot of nicknames that can come out of this one as well. Like Jen is a classic one that you can take from that. But again, like you could take Eve or Evie or different things like that. And I also just like that the name starts with the letter G. I feel like you don't often meet girls that have names that start with the letter G, but it is a really pretty letter, I guess you could say. And so I've always really liked Genevieve. Jared's not a huge fan of this one for our kids, but it is one that I have always loved and will always think is beautiful. The next one that I have on the list is Ivy. Ivy is a name that I have loved since I was like 9 or 10 years old. I think that was the first time that I heard it. There was a photographer that my sister and I used to follow that had daughters named Ava and Ivy, and at that point that was like when those names first became a thing, so that was like cutting edge, and we were both like, oh my gosh, like someday we need to have little girls and name them Ava and Ivy. And obviously now those names are like so popular. If you go into like a kindergarten class or a preschool class or whatever, like they're such popular names, and I think that's the biggest reason why this one was taken off of the list again. And there's nothing wrong with having a name for your kid that is in like the top 10 or top 20 names for the year or whatever. The other hard thing is you can't predict that. Like I have friends that have named their kids something and thought like, oh my gosh, this is so unique, and then the next year it's literally like in the top 10 names for the year. So I know that that's also something that you have to balance, is like whatever, who cares if it becomes popular, like that just means it's a nice name. But I think for me, because it has really become so popular, we did take that one off of the list list as well. This next one is one that I may even still use as a middle name at some point with our girls if we have more, because I really do think it's beautiful, and that is the name Jane. I've always thought, I think even just because of like Tarzan and Jane, she's just like this woman that I think little girls have looked up to in like a strange way. And I've always thought that that's just such a beautiful and classic name. I don't think that we ever thought that we would use it as a first name, but as a second name, it's really pretty. I have just had a lot of friends in the last couple of months consider using Jane or use Jane as a middle name. And so just trying to give some breathing room to it. Maybe we'll come back to it in the future, but I do really think that that's a beautiful name as well. And it is one that I'm going to leave on my list for the future because you never know. The last name that I will share with you guys is actually like a Swedish name, and I've thought about using it in a number of different circumstances, whether for a little girl or for a business project or for a brand or whatever, because I think it's so pretty, and that is the name Freya. I just think that it's just a really beautiful name in general. Jared is less on board with, I think, like names that are of lineages that are not tied to us. For a while, he was really adamant that we should be looking at names that were Irish because his family lineage is Irish, but for whatever reason, like there were not really any names that stood out to me in that kind of category. So I think like Freya and the whole Swedish connection is not something that he was super stoked on, but I do really think that that's a beautiful name, and who knows, maybe I'll use it for something else in the future, if not one of my children. So that is all of the names that I have right now on the baby girls list. There are a few more that I do have on here, as I said. Like there's at least 3 more that we're thinking of using for our daughter, but then there's also a couple more that I thought about sharing but want to save just in case we end up using it for future kids, because they're like not like the second tier, but they are ones that we would definitely consider if we were to have multiple baby girls. So I won't share all of them now just in case. We still need to have some ideas to be able to revisit in the future that are not publicized. Again, I would love to know if you guys have any ideas based on some of the names that I've shared today, what baby girl's name could be. I actually gave a couple of hints that I don't even think I meant to give as I was sharing in this video of like the things that we like and what we're looking at. So definitely drop a comment below if you have an idea of what baby girl's name could be. But I would also love to know which one of those was your favorite. So drop that down below as well. And hey, if you've got any other baby names that you guys love for little girls, maybe I'll call an audible and we will pull one of them from the comment section. So just share names. Like I'm just curious to know what you guys are thinking. We are, as I said, pretty sure on the name right now, but I feel like it is such a huge decision and it's been hard. Like we've gone back and forth of like, is that her name? Like, is that really her name? And then we'll start calling her that, and then we'll be like, I don't know if that's the name, and kind of go back into this like just questioning of it all. And so I am still, like I said, 5% unsure. And so if you guys have baby name ideas, I would love to hear them. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you want to stick around for more baby related content, there is lots coming your way in the next couple of weeks. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, which you can do at this little icon in the corner, and I will see you guys soon.